Minecraft 1.16. It's pretty good. Hey, what's going on, geeks? Maxusthebeast is here, and welcome back to Out of the Blue Reviews. Today, we are covering the latest update to Minecraft 1.16, aka the Nether update. With this update, our kind friends over at Mojang have added in a whole lot of new content to the Nether, which, if you ask me, was in dire need of it. For before this update, the Nether was nothing more than wastes. It was just open spaces of lava and netherrack. Occasionally you'll find a fortress, occasionally you'll get shot at by a ghast, and if you want quartz, just look pretty much anywhere. Other than the fortresses and random mob loot, there was really no reason to go to the Nether. Other than, again, the necessities for endgame. Your time in there would be anxiety filled because every time you take a step you have to worry about falling into lava, and your only ally or potential allies or companions are the zombie pigments and ghasts that roam the wastes. One will shoot at you, the other would be fine until you hit them. Then they murder you. So now they've added a bit more of uniqueness to the Nether. So no longer is it just hell, but now hell has a few new quirks that make it worth spending time in. Don't get me wrong, it's still anxiety-inducing, and there's still a lot of lava. However, there's now more than one reason to go there. So, let's get into it. Instead of doing what we normally would do with Out of the Blue reviews, for the last couple months we've been talking about updates or DLCs. But instead of talking about graphics or gameplay, we're going to be talking about each of the changes or additions they've added in. Or at least the changes that I'm aware of. And the additions they've added in. Making this update what it is. So, let's get into it. Let's start out with the biomes. That's right, no longer is the Nether just wide open netherrack plains. Now there are biomes to explore. 5, in fact. One of which we'll talk about here in a minute about how much that one's changed. But there are 4 truly unique biomes now to the Nether. The first of which I was able to discover in both of the Nether portals I've opened up since the updates dropped. This one being the Crimson Forest. There are now trees in the Nether, or rather they're technically mushrooms, just large mushrooms with nether warts for leaves. But the Crimson Forest is full of the crimson mushrooms. You break down the stalk of the mushroom, and like trees, you'll get logs. You can break those logs down into planks. Now, in the trees, some of the trees here in the Crimson Forest, there will be shroom lights, which you can use as a replacement for glowstone blocks or redstone lamps to help illuminate your bases. In my multiplayer server, our underground base is illuminated solely by shroom lights. They're a very cool and creative part to any Minecraft build. Now, while ghasts are not your big concern in the Crimson Forest, there are now Piglins and Hoglins wandering around in there. However, we'll talk a bit more about the new mobs here in a little bit. A new generated structure has a chance to spawn in the Crimson Forest, as well as you can find nether fortresses generating in the sides of the biome. They won't generate solely in Crimson Forest. However, if that forest neighbors the wastes, you'll have a higher chance of finding a fortress. But a new generated structure has a chance of generating entirely within the Crimson Forest. We'll again talk about that in a little bit. The wood type looks pretty cool. I like it. It's nothing super outstanding or amazing, but it's wood. In the Crimson Forest, you have a chance of finding crimson shrooms, which can be used to breed Hoglins. Again, talk more about them in a little bit. And you can also find warped fungus, which can be used to scare away Hoglins, and also breed the new Strider mob. We'll again talk about them later. The next biome we're going to be going over is a second type of forest biome. This is the Warped Forest. In the Warped Forest, everything's blue, and there are for some reason a lot of Endermen. So if you want to go grind up some Ender Pearls outside of the End or deserts, this is your go-to place. Just like the Crimson Forest, the trees here aren't actually trees, but are instead just larger mushrooms. And they will give you a nice aquamarine / teal colored wood, which is my new favorite wood in the game. I love it to death. You can also find very rarely the warp mushrooms here, as well as the shroomlights in the trees. There are also these weird vines that grow from the ground that kind of remind me sort of bamboo. Also, Endermen here are unusually hostile. Some of them will attack you at complete random even if you never look their direction, and then they'll bugger off for no reason and head someplace else and you'll never see them again. It's a weird place to be. Although it is really cool as well. I love the way it looks, but there's not really that much to say about it. It's a forest biome, essentially. Any of this look familiar? If you answered yes, then welcome back to the Nether Wastes. Nothing's changed here, there's just piglins wandering around now. This is what the Nether used to be. Just wide open space, lava, and pigs. You'll have a chance of finding ghasts here too, which is one of the few places they still appear. So that's a plus depending on how you want to look at it. If you want to grind for ghast tears for regen potions, this is your place to be. Otherwise, I'd avoid the wastes. There's nothing to see here other than lava, death, and essentially that. Although on the plus side, the wastes do border practically every new biome, so if you spend enough time wandering the wastes, you're more likely going to find something else that's much more worth your time. Hey kids, do you like anxiety? Well, if you answer yes to that question, welcome to the Basalt Deltas, the physical embodiment of the word anxiety. Every step you will take here, you will need to watch, because there are holes, into one-by-one holes leading into lava everywhere. Not to mention the entire biome is just suspended over top of, if not certain death by lava, then way above fall damage height. So if you fall off there, you're gonna die. So be very careful of where you step. There's also a lot of magma cubes here. It's their home place for some reason. They love it here, and you'll get swarmed by them pretty easily. So be careful. Ghasts also have a chance of popping up here again. So if it's not bad enough that you're walking on mountains of volcanic rock, and also suspended above a lot of active lava, just know that a flying demon ghost baby will come screech at you at any given time. Also, you can get basalt here, which isn't really used for much of anything except for building. But if you are interested in a survival playthrough in the Nether, this is a reliable source of blackstone, which is the Nether's new cobblestone replacement. So if you want to grab cobblestone to start farming stone tools here, this is your place to be. Also, there's magma blocks here, so if you want to farm that, then for your underwater projects, there's a lot here. Hey, you know that sand we made that makes you slow when you walk on it? Yeah, let's make a large field out of it. This is the final biome, the Soul Sand Plains, is what I call it. It's essentially nothing but soul sand, bones, and skeletons. So instead of, if you want bone blocks, instead of having to hope you find a fossil, there's a plethora of bone blocks there, as well as skeletons. Although one good thing about the biome is that if you have Soul Speed Enchanted Boots, a new enchantment to the game that you can also get in the Nether, from chest loot as well as from another means of gathering we'll go over in a little bit. You can run super speed and not have any problems. It's actually kind of fun. They've also added in a new soul block, being the soul soil. But instead of slowing you down, it's just basically just regular material, regular dirt. You walk on it, you're fine. Although you will still get super speed if you have soul speed boots, so that's a plus. But that's essentially this sand biome. I know I've been kind of sarcastic with these past few biomes, and it's not because I hate them. I love them to death. Complete polar opposite of hate. I love these biomes to death. They're really cool and fun to explore, and honestly, it gives me a reason to want to hang around and explore the Nether. You also get a cool achievement if you actually manage to find all 5 biomes, so that's cool. I genuinely like the biomes, however, on their own, there's not that much to say. You have to, for most of your experience with them, you're going to have to explore them yourselves, because everybody's experience with them will be different. From my own experience, the Basalt Deltas have been nothing but anxiety, but others might find them relaxing because, I don't know, they're masochists. But Mojang has done a great job at creating diverse biomes to truly distinguish the Nether from the overworld and from what it used to be. It's fun to explore each new biome and see what there is to see. For each has its own unique aesthetic. The particles you see in each biome are different. The Basalt Delta here, for example, has more of an ash particle effect going on, while the Crimson Forest, let's say, there are like red dust. There's red dust floating around the air. The ambient sounds are different. You're more likely going to encounter just regular game music in the Warped or Crimson Forest, while back in the Basalt Delta, you hear lower pitched, ominous music, as well as this weird Geiger counter thing going off in the background. So each biome truly does have a distinguishing factor from each other, and will definitely keep you on your toes. Especially with the way they've also changed around mob spawns, because used to, magma cubes were incredibly rare creatures to encounter. More than likely you'd find them at a fortress, but you still have a high chance of finding them anywhere. However, I say high chance, you still have an equal chance of finding them anywhere. They are rarer creatures, and you need magma cream if you wanted to create fire resistance potions. So now, find a Basalt Delta, and you have an army of these suckers to fight. However, for some reason on Bedrock, the things are extra annoying and have killed me multiple times. I'm thankful I play on Java dominantly. Speaking of cool things to find, there's now a new generated structure in the Nether. This being the Piglin Bastion Remnant, which will give the game theorists something to think about. Why is it a remnant? What happened here? But the Bastion Remnants are a new dungeon that can be explored in the Nether, filled with lava, loot, and piglins. And there are actually 4 unique types of Bastion Remnants. There's one that's shaped like a pig's nose. There's another that has a massive lava moat. There are others that are truly ruins. Each one has a distinguishing factor that makes it unique from the others. Each one also has a varying amount of chests and gold blocks for the player to loot. The one with the moat, for example, here, has among the highest chance of having a stash of gold blocks outside and in the middle of the structure. As well as the ruin one has the highest chance of spawning in with a gold monument type thing, where there's almost a pig face created entirely out of blocks of gold. So if players want gold loot, then that's where you need to be. But seeing as these suckers are in fact ruins, they are difficult to traverse. There are a lot of holes in the floors that will knock you down a few floors, or sometimes will drop you into lava. So it's important to either crouch walk or just mind the gap. Or better yet, just chug a fire resistance potion and hope if you fall into lava you'll be okay. Bridging is also a good idea to get from section to section. It's a dangerous place to be, however it can pay off. You can get magma cream, a lot of gold, tools, armor, including diamond tools and armor, sometimes of the enchanted variety, as well as saddles, and a host of other valuable loot. However, you can also very rarely stumble upon ancient debris or netherite, a material added to this update that we will cover in detail eventually. Again, give me time. We gotta get through this stuff first before we get to the fun stuff. But the bastions are difficult to traverse, but they're very rewarding if you take the time to search through every corridor. There are a lot of piglins standing guard. However, if you wear gold, you're fine. We'll talk more about that significance in a little bit. But just be careful about what you do in their line of sight. But if your exploration goes according to plan, you will walk out with a lot of good stuff. Also, here's some proof that I found netherite in one of the chests. Just so you can't say I'm lying, because I'm not. Nether fortresses are practically the same. Nothing's really changed here. They're still your primary source of nether wart and blaze rods and a lot of the in-game materials you'll need. They, again, really haven't changed all that much. You'll still get a lot of loot from exploring them, and they're still just as dangerous as they were before. So, again, nothing new to say here. Except I have gotten pretty lucky in my past few fortresses I've explored. This one fortress in this footage here walked away with 5 diamonds, several saddles, and several pieces of horse armor. So, count your victories there, I guess. Now let's talk about the new mobs. There are 3 new mobs added into this update. There are the Hoglins, the Piglins, and the Striders. Let's talk about the Hoglins first because they are the first monster that comes to my mind because of how annoying they are. Hoglins are giant boars. Their babies are aggressive and they are also highly aggressive. They will kill you without thinking twice. And in herds, they do a lot of damage. However, if you hunt them excessively, you will have a lot of leather and pork to your name. So, again, that can prove to be beneficial in the long term. They do a bit of knockback damage. They'll throw you in the air. Sometimes you'll take fall damage from the heights they chuck you. And their babies are also incredibly aggressive. I'd avoid them when around lava because they will not hesitate to knock you into it. However, they are not immune to lava. So if you knock them into it, they're screwed. So, and you also get cooked pork, assuming it doesn't burn up in the lava after the Hoglin dies. Also, they can wander through portals, and if they do, they turn into Zoglins, which are even more hostile and even more dangerous. You can breed them with the Crimson Fungus, although I don't know why you would, because they will despawn once you leave and more will respawn in their place, so really, unless you're just doing it for the achievement, there's no purpose to do so. Also, they're scared of warped fungus for some reason, so if you want to Hoglin-proof your nether base, surround it with warped fungus. It keeps them away. Don't really know the lore reason behind why they're spooked of it, but hey, it works. Are you tired of your horse always dying in the nether? Not to worry, we have a solution for that. Introducing Striders. This boat has legs. Similar to pigs, Striders can be ridden around with on saddles, as well as long as you lead them on a warped fungus on a stick. They are immune to lava, and can be seen wandering around in it frequently. You can also breed them with a warped fungus. But if you ever encounter a large lava lake, Don't worry about it. Just hop on a strider and head on off into the non-existent sunset. Because there is no day-night cycle in the Nether. But striders are pretty cool. They're another passive mob, pretty much our only passive mob in the Nether. They never attack you, but they need lava to survive and to really maintain happiness. So if you end up encasing one, make sure it has some lava to bathe in every once in a while. Otherwise, it might just die. And don't introduce it to water. If it transfers over to the overworld, yeah, it'll die in water. Also, before we head on to our final mob of the day, let's talk about our final little generated structure. The final generated structure of the Nether and Overworld are abandoned portals, or ruined portals. You can either fix them up and reactivate them yourself, or loot them. Or why not both? Each comes with the chest of assorted loot. Most come with the chest of assorted loot, including flint and sometimes flint and steel. So if you have enough obsidian on you, or sometimes they'll generate blocks of obsidian around it, so you can mine the obsidian around it and repair the portal. But you can fix up the portal, get the loot, grab the gold, and get a move on. Speaking of gold, our final mob of the night really likes it for some reason. Just like the zombie pigmen of old, Piglins now carry gold weaponry around the Nether. They are also similar to the pigmen that were eventually replaced by the regular villagers we see. Piglins wander the Nether, and they're a neutral mob. They'll attack you if you attack them, and they'll also attack you if they don't like you. Now, you might ask, how do I get them to like me? Because they pack a severe punch when aggroed. Well, they like gold. So you can either bribe them with gold or golden items to get them to leave you alone temporarily, or build yourself a piece of golden armor and put it on, and they will leave you alone. The golden armor is now the most important thing to have in Nether with you alongside a fire resistance potion. Because with golden armor, the piglins will like you. And with gold ingots, you can barter with them. They have a whole trading tree of things they like to give you. They'll sometimes ranging from gravel to glowstone to nether brick into very rarely ancient debris. It's always nice to be trading with a piglin, and then suddenly they throw a potion of fire resistance at you when you desperately need it. Or sometimes even enchanted boots with the new soul speed enchantment. Piglins are also by far one of the most diverse mobs in Minecraft, given what they like and don't have, especially since they have this whole list of likes and dislikes. And the bartering system. They like gold. However, even if you are wearing gold armor, they will still attack you if you attack them, as well as if you breach their boundaries. For example, they don't like it when you loot their chests in the bastions, as well as if you break gold in their presence, like the new golden nugget ore, as well, and the gilded blackstone found in their bastions. They will attack you for it. And even if you open your own chest or shulker box in their presence, they'll still attack you because they are very territorial about loot. So, going back to the conversation about piglin bastions, how do we raid those successfully without aggroing every single piglin in the building? Well, if you want to get the blocks of gold, there's really no way to. Because again, even if you are wearing golden armor, they don't care if you break those boundaries that I've established. However, there is a loophole if you want to loot their chests. Before just opening up a chest willy-nilly, place a hopper down underneath it and siphon the items out of the chest. the piglins will be none the wiser. They don't care if you use hoppers, because hoppers aren't theirs. So if you siphon items out with a hopper, they don't care. That is your loophole of preventing the piglins from aggroing. You steal their loot, they don't get mad at you. It's a win-win situation for both parties, because they get to live if they don't attack you. But as mentioned earlier, these fortresses, these bastions, are definitely worth your time. And make sure that you bring hoppers with you. Now, out in the Nether Wastes, there are still zombified piglins, which behave exactly like the zombie pigmen. They're neutral towards you unless you attack them first. However, they don't really care about gold as much as the regular piglins. So if you were to open a chest or mine gold nugget ore around them, they wouldn't care. As long as you don't attack them first, they won't attack you. Now then, let's get to the bread and butter of this update. And you better believe I am talking about the Lodestone. The Lodestone is a great way to navigate the Nether. Once you either craft one or find one in a Piglin Bastion Remnant, you can then place it down and then right-click on it with a compass to mark that location. It works both in the Nether and the Overworld. That compass becomes tied to the Lodestone block itself and will help you navigate the Nether. Mark places of interest like, for example, a bastion you have yet to explore. For instance, here, I didn't want to explore this place by myself in my multiplayer server. I wanted to mark it so I can bring a friend back with me and we can explore it together. The compass now has an enchanted texture and animation as it is now marked with the power of the Lodestone so you can retrace your steps and end right back where you placed the block. It sounds kind of dull to those who don't really care, but it is definitely a big help. It's also helpful to put it down at your Nether base or portal, so in case you go exploring a super long distance, you'll always be able to find your way back. It's very effective for Nether navigation. And again, it also works in the Overworld, so if you have a village or generated structure you want to mark for later, plop down a Lodestone, tune your compass into it, and then head back, do what you need to do, and then follow the compass back. It's a very useful item. Speaking of useful items, using Crying Obsidian and Glowstone blocks, you can now create the Respawn Anchor, which functions as your Nether bed. You set that down, and then right-click on it, and you'll have your spawn point set. However, in order for it to actually work, it needs to be charged. In order to charge it, you need more glowstone blocks. So once you produce the actual anchor, climb up to your nearest glowstone and get mining, because you're going to need it to charge the sucker up in order for it to be useful. Once you have gathered all the glowstone you need, and get ready to head back to wherever you want to set this thing. For me, I chose next to my portal, so if I were to die here on my multiplayer server, I'll just pop right back by the portal and our growing base. Just simply right-click on the anchor with blocks of glowstone in your hand, and you will charge it. 4 charges will reach maximum. You will also gain an advancement for completing this objective. Then right-click on the activated anchor to set your spawn point. So you will also need to make sure that when you go back to the overworld that you set your spawn point at your bed, because now you can do that in the daytime just by right-clicking on your bed. So that way, if you were to die on the surface world, you won't respawn back in the Nether. Don't forget that now. Now let's talk about some things to mine in the Nether, because this is the true bread and butter of the Nether, why you're going to want to stick around for long periods of time. Golden ore, golden nugget ore, can now be found in the Nether. When you break it, it gives you experience points and gold nuggets. If you use a Silk Touch pickaxe, you get the ore block, and if you smelt it, it turns into ingots. So in the long run, it'll be more productive if you have Silk Touch. However, the nuggets can be turned into ingots anyway. And that's the most important thing that you want to come to the Nether for now, right? Because gold is super useful. I'm actually not being sarcastic about that part. Because with the Piglins, you will need gold to survive and thrive for long periods of time in the Nether. But the real reason you're going to want to spend time in the Nether is Netherite, the new material that is more powerful than diamonds. That's right, diamonds have been dethroned. However, Netherite is very rare, rarer than diamonds, and it only spawns in a handful of pieces, potentially per chunk. It's not even guaranteed to spawn in every chunk. There's a chance that ore could spawn, that the ancient debris blocks, the technical ore for Netherite, will spawn in a chunk. So strip mining isn't going to be your best bet, because it's difficult to cover every possible conceivable section of a chunk in order to effectively find the ancient debris. You might be seeing a lot of get netherite quick videos on YouTube. Some potential ways to get rich quick, get this rare resource easily. However, the best means of finding the netherite is through bed mining. What is bed mining? You put down beds in the nether, dig a few blocks into the side of a wall, then trigger the bed to explode and see what's still around. Because netherite and ancient debris both are fireproof as well as blast proof. So if you were to blow up a piece of ancient debris, it's not going to work. If a piece of ancient debris falls into fire or lava, it's not going to burn up. Same with netherite ingots, tools, or armor. Which is one of the reasons why it's nice to have when traversing, especially when traversing the nether. But using beds is a good strategy, as the only blocks really left behind would be the ancient debris. However, with this strategy, keep in mind that you might also end up draining in lava lakes or other lava blocks nearby. So your mine shafts might end up flooding with lava. Be very cautious with this and bring fire resistance potions with you when using the strategy. It's safe to do in the nether. It's always a advised strategy in the nether to bring fire resistance potions with you. But definitely when doing this strategy, because a lot of times the best place to find blocks of netherite or ancient debris, it's underneath lava lakes. So you're going to want to be extra cautious when you're mining out, because you'll end up sometimes blowing into the underside of a lava lake. And no one wants lava poured on top of their head. You will need 4 pieces of ancient debris to create an ingot, because each piece of debris creates scrap. And combine 4 gold ingots with 4 netherite scrap, and you will get 1 netherite ingot. Now you might be throwing your controllers or keyboards or mice or whatever at me saying, what? All this grinding for 1 ingot? That's all you need. For the smithing table now has a purpose. Instead of chucking all your diamonds into lava now that netherite's a thing, you'll need diamond to mine it. And you'll also need your diamond tools in order to upgrade them into netherite tools and armor. So hang on to your stuff, your diamond stuff, for as long as you can, because you're going to need them in the long run. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to take your diamond tools or armor, take them into the smithing table, and then combine the diamond tool with the netherite ingot to get your netherite tool. These suckers will last you for a long period of time, and they can mine any material in the game. Obsidian, ancient debris, You name it, any ore, it can mine it. Netherite is now the most durable and the strongest tool and material in the game. So this has been the new update. Oh, they've also added a new music disc, which is actually a bop. So get pig step as quickly as possible. But this has been the new update. Personally, I really like it, and I think that Mojang has given the Nether some purpose and charm. And I would highly recommend exploring it and seeing all that there is to see with the new Nether, because now there is a reason to be there, Netherite, and it's also a lot of fun. The new items are useful, as well as durable, and you will definitely have a lot more to do in your Minecraft playthroughs. If I were to rank this update, 10 out of 10 easy. Honestly, it would take a lot for them to screw this up, and it would be hard to, and thank goodness they didn't. Thanks for tuning into this video, everybody. What are your experiences with the Nether update been like? What have those been like for you? Have you had fun exploring the new biomes? Have you found a lot of Netherites? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, happy Geekz Week. As always, Maxusthebeast is out.